Hello everyone and welcome once again to Golf Center. Along with Bob Stevens, I'm PGA professional Chris Tremblay, and Bob, we have a big show to talk about today.
Big show to talk about. We're going to talk about, we're going to salute a little bit today.
We are.
We're going to talk about the all-service golf tournament that is coming to the Legends at Paris Island.
Very exciting. National tournament.
National tournament. Going to be a lot of fun. Andy Hinson, the head professional at Paris Island at the Legends course there, is going to be along to join us. We're also going to do something we have not done nearly enough of this summer. We're going to do a little instruction work. You're a teacher, a well-known teacher in this area. I'm going to get a lesson in the bottom part of the half hour. I'm excited, certainly, about that.
Let's go ahead and start out, though, talking about the Hilton Head Island Amateur Golf Association and their amateur championship. Yeah, absolutely. They had their amateur championship for the year this past weekend, and J.D. Hoft of Bluffton captured his second championship, winning in 2007. He shot 141, 3 under par, and played some really great golf out at Indigo Run.
Yeah, to play under par at Indigo Run with the weather the way it was, and that's terrific golf. There is really a high level of amateur play here in the Low Country that we don't always see. We watch the U.S. Amateur and we follow these guys as they try to qualify for the U.S. Amateur, but we think of that as kids. We got grown-ups that play at a very high level.
They play at a very high level. You know, we have amateurs here that, obviously have access to wonderful facilities here, more so than most of the country.
Absolutely.
The year can play all the time. Needless to say, they don't have any downtime in the snow unless, of course, they head up north. And, it's lent itself toward, wonderful players from the area. Somebody who just finished runner-up to JD, Kevin King, who's a 9-time amateur champion here on Hilton Head, is qualified for, if I'm not mistaken, at least 10 USGA championships and really plays some wonderful golf. And Matt O'Quinn, who was the runner-up, actually was tied with JD. After the 12th hole on Sunday, a little rain delay came in for a while, and when they resumed, unfortunately for Matt, he kicked it off with a pair of 7s, and that kind of removed him from the equation, and JD was kind of able to cruise home.
Yeah. Rain delays are a funny thing to have to play with, and it's something I think players have to get used to dealing with. In our regular play, if it rains, you just stop.
That's right.
And whether you go back out or not, more likely not than you are.
Sure.
He had to go back out and again, as you mentioned, put up the 2.7.
And it's really a time when you have to regather yourself, get yourself warmed up again, and get back on it. And unfortunately, it didn't pan out for him. He still had a good tournament, finishing second to JD, and I'm sure he's going to be after championships down the road.
Now, while all that was going on this side of the pond, there was a little action on the other side of the pond that had a lot of people's attention. Huh?
Yeah, you bet. Phil Mickelson captured, needless to say, if you don't know by now, he captured the 142nd Open Championship at Muirfield over in Gullin, Scotland, with a 66 for a closing round. Just, a terrific effort by Phil after the disappointment that he had at Marion. How about him coming back?
Well, the back nines, how about those of both tournaments?
Yeah.
What he did at Marion, where he just made mistake after mistake.
With the wedges into the greens, he, didn't hit them close, ended up making bogeys, and now he's hitting 3 woods, 300 yards onto the green.
He had bigger clubs and a lot more margin for error, and did not make the mistakes. The great shot at 16 that he thought was right on the button and then pulled back off the green. He has to chip up and make
another great example of his resiliency. He hung in there, after a shot like that, he's looking at a birdie opportunity, he rolls down, and now he's got a very challenging up and down up that mound to the green up on the plateau, hits it about 7 or 8 feet by, but like we didn't see in the U.S. Open, he knocked him down.
Yeah, he makes the putt. Then, of course, 17, the great 2-3 woods there. And then at 18, what's he doing, Chris? Threading the needle with that second shot. Everybody talks about what a great shot it was. Obviously, it was. But boy, don't you hit it to the center of the green.
He had a lot more room on the right side of the green, and to be truthful with you, if you watched him line up from behind when the camera angle was there, that's where Phil was going. Phil was being Phil. He wasn't aiming for the middle of the green. Phil was going right after the pin.
And he obviously pulled it off, and
he sure did.
And won the championship 3/4 of the way toward the career Grand Slam. Here's your question to ponder and debate this week. Does this now put him, is he there yet? Top 10 players of all time?
Darn close, not quite.
Okay.
Darn close,
I was ticking off names, and you know what? He's 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. He's in that grouping of the next group.
It's very close. If he were to win a U.S. Open and complete a Grand Slam,
then he's in.
And as you and I were talking about earlier, you know, he returns to Pinehurst next year, which is obviously a course that he's played very well in the U.S. Open, being a runner-up there, and then you brought up that.
Well, but then again, almost every course that has a U.S. Open, he's been a runner-up at, so he's going to face that probably for the next.
Which is good. He'll go in there with some, you know, good feelings, but definitely, you know, now that Phil has won 3 of the 4 legs, he's got a chance next year to complete the career Grand Slam, which is a feat that only, I think, 5 players have, 4 or 5 have completed before.
Yeah. It's a very exclusive group.
Also finishing well in the tournament, he beat Henrik Stenson, who finished at even par by 3. Ian Poulter, who, like in the PGA last year up at Kiowa, quick start, got out of the gates, eagled 9, then birdied 10, 11, and 12 to pull within 2, and hung in there pretty well. Another good finish.
If somebody from Great Britain brings an American flag to the PGA at Oak Hill next month and puts it behind every putt that Ian has, so he's like putting toward the flag, he could be a winner.
I think he could definitely be a winner. No question about that.
He really can get it charged up. When he gets some momentum, could he be the best momentum player out there right now? When he gets hot, he's like Kenny Perry on the Champions Tour.
He gets those crazy eyes, and he really gets going pretty good. But yeah, he definitely can light it up as quick as anybody. And you know, now it's been 2 majors that he's shown that he really can get it going. So it might be just a matter of time before he comes down that 18th hole with a chance to win.
Indeed.
Adam Scott finishes also tied for 3rd with Ian Poulter, along with Lee Westwood.
How about Adam Scott? You talked about resiliency with Phil coming back. Adam Scott, first of all, coming back from the Open Championship a year ago to win the Masters, to win so quickly a major championship, and then to feel it, to have the lead on the back 9 again. Fortunately, nobody is going to say, well, he choked this one away, because I think Phil did go out and win it. I think everybody admits that. But boy, again, some trouble for Adam coming down the stretch when he made 4 straight bogeys.
Yeah, well, you know, and it was everything. It was a combination of shots and putts. You know, he wasn't hitting the greens, and then, you know, he'd hit it up there and give himself a chance to save par, and he just couldn't quite do it. He did reach -2, 1 less than Phil's winning figure at one point, and then made 3 bogeys coming down the stretch, unfortunately, and it made it so it was the 2nd straight year that he had a top 3 finish at the Open Championship. Let's talk Hunter Mahan.
Yeah.
2nd straight major where he's been in the last group, closed with 75, tied for 9th.
Yeah, made a run, made that eagle at 9, and he was right there. But then he fell back a little bit, and we never did see the run from Tiger that we expected to see on a Sunday. That I think surprised everybody.
Started right out with a 3-putt on number 1. You know, granted he misclubbed a little bit, left him on the front of the green, so he had a very, very long putt. So it was, you know, not that difficult to 3-putt, but you know that kind of set the momentum for the day right there.
You know, he used to not. It seemed like he didn't treat the majors as if they were really that different from any other tournament. I mean, he always says, "I'm here to win this tournament," and I think he believed it. I think he now thinks of the majors in a different spot, and it's not a good spot right now. I think
it didn't seem like the deep preparation you might have gotten out of players of the past and that some of the others are putting in. You know, he kind of got there late on Monday, played a little Tuesday and Wednesday, and then teed it up.
Something for you to think about. A couple of weeks from now, they're going to play at Bridgestone before the PGA. Tiger, it's the one time he does play the week before a major. He owns Firestone. He'll probably win again. Phil won't.
Yep.
And then who will be the favorite going into Oak Hill? It's going to be a lot of fun. We got a lot to look forward to.
A good last major championship coming up for sure. 2 other players to mention. Zach Johnson.
Yep.
Nice, you know, tied for 6th, played very well. Couldn't get any putts to fall over the weekend, which surprisingly it would help him tie for 6th, because generally if he's not making any putts, he's not going to be up near the lead, but it shows what his solid ball striking was like.
He's got the kind of game that wins an Open Championship someday, I think.
I agree.
Yeah, he manages the course very well. And obviously,
very tidy.
As you mentioned, put himself in a lot of good positions, just didn't make any putts.
Yep. Last one I want to bring up, Hideki Matsuyama, the 21-year-old Japanese gentleman who pretty much has replaced Ro Ishikawa as the young Japanese. Who? You know, he finished tied for 10th in the U.S. Open. Then he had the penalty stroke, finished tied for 6th this past week. What do you think of him?
Obviously a great player. It's curious to see now, will we see him play more and more over here, as Ishikawa did when he decided he wanted to play over here more. Curious to watch that in the coming weeks.
Should be fun to see how that pans out.
Absolutely.
Now, the RNA, who holds the Open Championship every year, they run the Open Championship one week. Then this coming week, we have the Senior Open Championship at Royal Birkdale.
Right, they're at Birkdale, where Mark O'Meara was a winner. Remember, we saw Mark O'Meara on the leaderboard early in the week, you know, at Muirfield. So I'm thinking he might be one of the favorites. Kenny Perry would be a favorite if he You
need to go. You need
have
to
to
go.
enter to win.
You got to be in to win. Exactly right. You don't buy a lottery ticket, no winnie. Yeah, Kenny Perry's never been one to go over and play in many Open Championships. He's won 2 of the majors so far this year on the Champions Tour. He's elected once again not to go over and play, so he won't be there. We do have the other 2 major champions of the year, though, playing David Frost and my favorite name on the Champions Tour, Koki Adoki.
Yes, indeed.
I really like that name. So they will be playing over at Birkdale this week.
And then so will Tom Watson. Watch out for him. You have to.
That's right. Yeah. Exactly, Tom Watson. Last thing we've got to mention is one of Hilton Head's favorite touring pros.
Yes, Woody.
Woody Austin. He did not obviously play in the Open Championship. He played in the Sanderson Farms Championship in Mississippi. That was the PGA Tour's event that ran even with the British Open this week. And Woody, at age 49, he's a winner again on tour.
He's going to win an awful lot of money on the Champions Tour when he does turn 50. It's good that he's now in. He can play whenever he wants to between now and then, and that improves his status on the Champions Tour as well. And it's great to see Woody win because he's so emotional and just 4 years removed from being on a President's Cup team.
That's right, and definitely next year he'll be eligible for the Champions Tour, and everybody, of course, remembers Woody. We hold him so fondly in our heart here for taking his putter on the 14th green at Harbour Town, not being overly thrilled with the prior shot, and just rearranging the shaft a little bit with a few shots to the head. Everybody kind of remembers that. Okay, enough golf headlines. Yes. When we come back, we're going to be joined by Andy Hinson from the Legends at Paris Island to talk about the All Services Golf Tournament Championship that's going to be played there very soon, right after this.
As we've already been discussing, it is major championship season, and we're going to have another major championship here in the Low Country coming up very soon, the Armed Forces Golf Championship. Andy Hinson joining us. He's the head professional out at the Legends course at Paris Island. Andy, welcome to the show. Tell us a little bit more about the Armed Forces Championship.
Yeah, we're very excited to be hosting the championship this year. The dates are September 15th through 18th, which is a Sunday through Wednesday.
And Armed Forces, obviously the Marines are going to be involved because you guys are there, but there's going to be, the best players representing all the services? Tell us how this works out.
Well, absolutely. It's the best players from the Army, the Navy, the Air Force, and the Marine Corps. And every year a different service will host the championship. So we were really excited last year when we found out we were going to be hosting this year's championship. We've been preparing for it all year long, as a matter of fact. The teams will arrive here in Beaufort on Thursday. They'll have 2 days of practice rounds on Friday and Saturday. And then the opening ceremony begins at 0800 on Sunday. You got to keep that military time going.
Right.
And then the competition will start shortly after, around 0900. And I got to tell you, the golf course is in fantastic shape. I think all the players are really going to appreciate this classic low country design.
Now let's talk a little bit about the competition. How many players will be representing each side? What is the format? Do we have individual? Do we have team? We know it's scratch.
It is.
So let's just work off of that.
No handicaps. That's right. And so it's a four-day, 4-round, 72-hole stroke play competition. Nice. So all the players are selected based upon their ability. There is no handicap involved, as you mentioned.
Right. And it's how many men and women from each service?
Well, there's 6 men and 3 women from each service, so that's 9 per team. So a total of 36 players will be competing.
And what is it? Team competition? So we're taking so many of the low scores each day for each team, and we're keeping track individually for that, or is it just a team?
Yeah. They throw out the worst score each day, so it's the best 5 scores of the 6 men and the best 2 scores of the 3 women.
With only 36 players competing, there's going to be a lot of opportunity for folks to see the tournament because it's going to be right in front of them, and also to be a part of maybe even playing the course in the afternoon after the pros, or after the pros, the
real pros.
The real pros. Yes,
pros.
Absolutely. After they're done playing?
Absolutely. Yeah, the course is closed obviously in the morning for the competition, but after 1200, the public is welcome to come out and play the golf course. In fact, the day after the competition, we're going to be hosting a tournament for all of our customers. They get to play the exact conditions of the golf course from the championship.
Now, where was the event last year, and what do you know about how it panned out last year and all?
Well, I've been the coach for the All-Marine Golf Team for the last 5 years, so I've been fortunate to be able to travel to the different sites with the team. Last year it was held down in Jacksonville, Florida at the Naval Air Station, hosted of course by the Navy, and this year is the Marine Corps' turn to host it. They selected the Legends of Paris Island from all the the Marine Corps courses in the world.
All right, since you've got a little inside scoop, who's the favorite?
Well, the Air Force has won the last 9 years in a row.
Uh-oh.
So the Marines haven't been the best golfers. It's not easy either. The Marines, I've been working with them, like I said, for the last 5 years. We've done a lot of preparation. This year we actually hosted a mini camp at Parris Island. In fact, I was able to get one of our local PGA professionals, Pete Popovich from the Golf Performance Academy. Pete came out and helped us. We analyzed their swings, their equipment, their mental game, and it was 3 days of intense training for them. So they left with a lot of information, a good practice plan, and even though the Air Force has been strong with all the preparation we've been doing this year, I like our chances.
And intense training, that really kind of takes on a whole new meaning.
Yeah, I think it's a little different than what they're used to intense training-wise, right?
How intense it would be. So what do you think? Do you like the Marines' chances this year? Do you think we've done some good stuff?
I do. Yeah, you're right about the intensity. I mean, certainly it's nothing compared to the 12-week boot camp they go through, but 3 days from sun up to sundown on a golf course in this heat and humidity down here, yeah, it'll stress even the toughest golfer or Marine.
Let's talk about Parris Island and the Legends course and its access to the public, not only during the tournament, but for the visitors that are here with us and year-round.
Well, to get into the tournament is very simple. It's just like coming to the golf course any day. As long as you have the proper identification, you can get through the gate with no problem. But the fastest and easiest ways to get access to the golf course at any time is to complete one of our, it's a simple form called the Friends of Parris Island. With that form, you can get a 12-month vehicle pass that'll get you through the gate anytime. And that form is located on our website, thelegendspi.com.
Well, Andy, thank you so much for being with us. Andy Hinson, the PGA Director of Golf at the Legends of Parris Island. We'll be looking forward to seeing the results of the upcoming event.
Thank you, guys.
When we come back here on Golf Center, myself and Bob, we're going to have a little instruction for you to help you with your game.
He'll be doing the teaching.
Right after this. Welcome back to Golf Center. A few weeks ago, we talked about what is going to be legal and illegal when it comes to the putting ban to the anchoring putter in 2016, on January 1st, 2016. So what I wanted to do before we got too far along today, Bob, was show everybody out there one of the alternatives that I found to be pretty handy, so to speak, when it comes to using a conventional putter. You know, a lot of the reasons why people go to the longer putter are because the hands, as we get a little older, they tend to take on a life of their own sometimes.
They shake.
They tend to take on a life of their own. So the company Superstroke, you saw Phil Mickelson, he actually was using one of their putter grips. It wasn't this same one, it was one that's a little bit more round. He was using it at the Open Championship last week. The company Superstroke has come out with a bigger putting grip to engulf most of your hand. And Bob, if you'd be kind enough to just grip, or actually, let's hold it up here first.
Here's your standard, and you can see a significant difference. It's what, a good twice as big.
At least twice as big, and really holds the whole hand.
Because you have to put your whole hand around it, it takes the wrists out, right?
Exactly. It gets more of what we call the big muscles working, so our hands, like I said, don't take on a little bit of life of their own. And as you can see, when I grip the club here, you can see how big it is and how it engulfs pretty much my whole hand, if I may borrow this. If I take this is more of a conventional size. You can see how my hand pretty much covers it up, and it's much more in my fingers. So generally, the idea is if we get this bigger putter grip in our palms, it's going to help to take some of the happiness out of our fingers and make it so we can be a little smoother, especially on those 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 footers, those ones where we tend to feel like we should make and we tend to get a little bit excited over them.
The ones your partners won't give you.
The ones that's right. The ones the partners won't give you. So we just wanted to bring this to your attention. I know they have these at golf headquarters. They just got a new supply of them in, so don't be afraid to go down and get one of these big putters on your putter grips on your putters, because they definitely are a nice toy, and I can tell you from using it that it makes a difference.
I would think most every golf store would have them, and in different sizes, different feels, and you know, it's a thought if you want to even go to an extended putter and run it up the arm like Matt Kuchar's talking about, to also still consider that Superstroke grip.
Exactly right. I'm going to give you these two right here.
All right.
As we get into our little piece of instruction here for today, one of the things we want to do is always show you things you can possibly do at home to work on your golf game so you don't need to be at the course. Because, you know, every once in a while when you're watching TV at night, preferably Golf Center, when you're watching, you want to make sure that you're not just sitting there. You want to be productive. You want to work on your golf game. So what we're going to do is show you how to work on your golf swing when you're at home without using your arms, and the club.
Okay.
As you can see, Bob here has put in one of these rods right here. Up north, they use these to mark your driveway, so plow guy doesn't come along and tear up your grass. Down here in the south, we use them to grow tomatoes.
And all golfers, all the pros, have these in their bag because they are always working on their alignment on the practice range.
Exactly right. So much true. So what we're going to do is have you, if you could, face me and come out here just a little bit more so you're right in the middle. A little bit more.
All right.
Okay. Now I'm going to take this rod and put it right up here on your shoulders and ask you to hold that in place for me. So if you could bring up here, why don't we cross our arms?
Okay, cross the arms,
yeah. Okay. Now if you'd be kind enough to get in your stance for me, get in your posture, show me a little bend there in the legs.
All right.
Okay, now what we're going to do is I'm going to hold your head in place and I'm going to have you make your backswing for me. So make your backswing. Yes, okay. And this is what we're looking for here, okay? From this angle right here, the top rod, and now you can turn and face the camera. If you just do the same thing now, turn and face the camera. Now, get yourself set. Make your turn back. We're looking for some nice separation here from the upper rod and the lower rod. We're looking for the lower rod to stay in place, which shows that we're not really moving our lower body much. We're nice and stable, and we're making a nice turn with our upper body. And you can feel the stretch right here. So start again for me.
Okay.
And turn back. Now I'm going to hold this other rod in place. Yeah, you feel that resistance there?
Absolutely.
And you can feel a nice turn here. Now go all the way through to your finish. So go back and go all the way through. Yeah, exactly. So we want to get a lot of these turns right here where we turn back and turn through, because if we can't move our body correctly without the club, what's going to happen when you get the club in your hands?
Yeah.
So go ahead and do a few of those for me at a pretty good speed. So get yourself good and set, back and through. Make a big turn there and go right through. Get that other rod. Yes, exactly. Do that again. Back and through. And that's a great way for you to learn how to move your body, because then when we add the arms to the swing, we're back and we're through turning the body the same way.
Okay.
So like I said, we want to make sure more than anything that you know how to correctly move your body in the swing, because if you don't know how to do that, once you add your arms and the club to the equation, you can have a lot of things go awry, and that means a lot of lost golf balls, especially down here.
A lot of moving parts.
And we don't want that. So we want you to go ahead and give that a try at home. Hey, that's all the time we have for this week. Thank you so much for being here today, Mr. Bob.
Absolutely.
For Bob Stevens, I'm PGA professional Chris Tremblay. Thank you so much for joining us here on Golf Center. We'll see you next time.